Hi, this is Will Martin with willmartin.com, and I just wanted to do a quick update on my peak Supermajors data project. I've been keeping track of the oil and gas production for the Supermajors and have dug into historic archives to get data going back to 1900. This chart here is the liquids production of the Supermajor oil and gas companies, which are Shell, Total, BP, Chevron, and ExxonMobil. As you can see, the production in millions of barrels per day peaked in 1973. This peak was followed by a wave of nationalizations of the oil reserves of these companies, after which the production of these companies leveled off in the 1980s and 1990s, and then reached a second peak in 1998. So I'll zoom in on the second peak in liquids production. So after reaching the second peak in 1998, liquids production decreased by about 2 million barrels per day between 1998 and today, which is the data I have going to Q1 2017. So as you can see, there's been a slight uptick since 2015, but on longer scale, you can see it's definitely declining since the second peak. And then looking at gas production, the Supermajor oil and gas companies reached a first peak at the same time in 1973 that they reached oil peak. But then starting in the 1990s, they refocused on gas production and greatly ramped up gas production, reaching a second peak in 2010 of over 45 billion cubic feet per day across all of the and then after this peak in 2010, as you can see going all the way to Q1 2017, gas production from these companies has declined significantly. I've also put together a chart of the capital expenditures of these companies. So this is how much money these companies spend each quarter going out and searching for new oil and gas and developing new oil and gas fields. It's in billions of dollars per quarter. I've put it in real dollars, so I use the CPI as a deflator so that it takes away inflation. So all the dollars here are essentially equal to each other. And as you can see, the oil and gas Supermajors, they greatly ramped up spending between 2000 and 2013, reaching a peak in CAPEX spending of over $60 billion per quarter in 2013, and then the CAPEX has dropped off significantly since then, reaching levels not seen for 20 years. The other piece of data I got this week is BP released their statistical review of world oil. So I now have the total global oil production from a number of agencies: API, OPEC, BP, the EIA, the IEA, and Shell, going back to 1860. So as you can see, oil production ramped up significantly between 1940 and 1970. And then there was the oil crisis in the late 70s, ramped up again, and continues to increase, nearly reaching 100 million barrels of oil per day. That would be a pretty historic mark if we hit that. What I did then for my last chart is I took these numbers and just divided it by how many people are in the world. So I created a global oil production per capita chart. So this is how many barrels of oil per person per year are produced globally. And as you can see, oil production per person ramped up significantly between 1940 and 1970, going from less than 1 barrel per person per year to over 5 barrels per person per year. Then following the 1970s energy crisis, this declined and has pretty much leveled off. So for the amount of oil produced globally has pretty much been level. An important note here is that this is gross oil production per capita, not net. So it doesn't take into account the energy return on energy invested. And if you were to adjust this chart for the declining net energy from oil fields globally, we'd actually be past the peak of global oil production per capita on a net energy basis. So I hope you guys enjoy these charts. Look forward to your comments, and look for another presentation next quarter. Thanks.